Well, good afternoon, folks. Today, let's address the age-old question. As a bushcrafter, how do you maintain your curves? Welcome back, folks. Thanks for taking the time to be here today. Today, I want to talk about knives with curves, whether it be a recurve or if it has a long sweeping belly like this Jesmic here. I want to answer a question that I've received several times from a few different viewers. Some of you guys have noticed that when I'm not reviewing a knife, more often than not, whatever knife I'm using either has that recurve or that long sweeping belly as I just showed you. Well, the short of it is, a lot of the folks that are expressing interest in these blades do have some concerns about whether their current sharpening system will work with a blade with a curve, whether it be in or out. So today I would just like to take just a quick couple minutes and show you how I address honing up or sharpening up a curved blade. So hopefully this will help you guys make a more informed decision about whether these style blades will work for you or work for your current sharpening system. So without much yik-yak in the way, let's go ahead and go over to my impromptu work table and I'll show you how I maintain these style blades. Before we get into the how or the actual method that I use to maintain these style blades, I just wanted to show you really quick the two kits that I use. This is in the field and this is at home. These are the tools that I use to maintain my blades more often than not. When I'm at home, typically I use my kitchen table because it's a nice sturdy base or platform to work off of. I can sit down, be nice and comfortable. But because the lighting in there stinks for filming, I am outside just on an impromptu workbench. So anyway, these two ceramic rods right here are from Lansky. From my experience, these are bar none the best ceramic rods available on the market today. There may be better ones, I don't know. These are just the best that I have used. This brown or gray one here, pardon me as that one runs away, is the medium grit. This white one is fine. 9 times out of 10, guys, that will get everything I need to done if the blade is not sharp already. If the blade is sharp and I just want to hone it up a little bit, this is just a strop that I made up. It's just a piece of rough leather, hot glued to a piece of, I think this is red oak board, it doesn't matter, and it has some green polishing compound embedded into the leather. In the field, this is what I carry with me. This is just a shortened version of this medium grit Lansky ceramic rod, and this is a fine coarse whetstone from Dan's Whetstones. Met those guys at Blade Show, great guys. I will put a link in the description of this video if you guys are interested in something like that. Now, for those of you who might be wondering, what is this problem I'm talking about? Why can't you use a regular flat stone or flat sharpening system like this WorkSharp guided sharpening system to hone up or to maintain a curved blade? So just real quick, let's go over that. Okay, just using this WorkSharp guided work sharpening system as an example as far as a flat regular type or style sharpening system on these curved blades that curve out or have a nice elongated belly like these two here. This is just an LT Wright Jesmic, and this is a Razorback by Wolf Customs. The first problem that I will give this is that it's not exactly a problem with functionality, it's a problem with aesthetics. You take one of these Scandi style blades to a stone like this, you're going to scratch up that nice pretty bevel, which, you know, I'm not hugely into aesthetics. It doesn't matter that much to me, but at the same point in time, I prefer not to if I don't have to. This WorkSharp here is not set up for Scandi style blades, which is Scandi style blade is where you have to lay the bevel flat on whatever system you're sharpening. It'll work just fine. In fact, it will excel at this because it does have the mode where it's loose. It will follow the edge or that bevel as you sharpen it. And as you can see, it is scratching it up. So that is not a big deal. It will still cut and maintain an edge fine. And honestly, you can switch out with a leather strop and do the exact same process, and you will be able to work out those scratches. Like I said, guys, it's just a matter of aesthetics. And see, it's already working out those scratches. However, that does outline the problem, and you'll have the same problem, but more so with a sharpening system that does not react to the curve of the blade like this guided work sharpening system. Now don't get me wrong guys, this is another example of Dan's Whetstone's work. I love this thing for a straight blade. In my opinion, there's not much better of a system out there. It is on par easily with that guided work sharpening system. So if you prefer regular whetstones, this is a great option for you. Again, there will be a link in the description of this video for both this system as well as the work sharp system. Now the problem as far as recurve blades goes, and for those that will ask, this is a CRKT M21-4, this is a Schrade SCH42, and this is a new knife on the market today. It is built by Black Feather Knives and has so far been dubbed the Feral Woodcrafter. This is my design, but I'm not 100% positive on the name yet. Anyway, just to outline the problem. Just use the Schrade as an example today. As you guys can see, that recurve edge sitting on the flat surface of this work sharp. As you progress forward with the angle you want, you're getting an inconsistent line of contact with this edge. The problem there being, let's go ahead and do a run or two so you can see. The problem there being, as you can see, you're getting far more contact up here and back here than you are in the middle. And so you're going to have an inconsistent grind on that blade. You will have the exact same issue with any flat sharpening surface, and the wider the sharpening surface is, the more pronounced that difference is going to be. Now you can, let's get to the fine side. Now the recurve on a flat surface, at least a narrow flat surface, you can kind of work around that by angling the contact with the blade up and down this way and working off the edge of your stone, but you're going to end up wearing out your stone in a funny shape that way. So like I said, if you run off the edge of your stone to get the inside of that curve, you will wear your stone out funny, and there's no need to do that. While that will work, yes, there's no need to when you have options like these Lansky ceramic rods. One last piece of equipment to show you before I get started in the actual methodology here. This is a Lansky eraser. If you're gonna use a Lansky ceramic rod, these are great. As you can see, this rod is pretty well used. What this eraser does is it gets down into the pores of that ceramic material, grabs the steel that it's shaved or honed off the edge of that blade, and brings that rod back to new. Let's cover at home and with a recurve blade first. This is all freehand, and it does take some practice. With any sharpening system, it's going to take practice to find the correct angle and the correct way to hone a knife back up. What's nice about this is because you only have, let's show you here. You can see that line of material that I removed right down the center. You have one thin point of contact on that edge, and so it can follow that recurve easily. A lot of it is feel and sound. Notice how it changed as I changed the angle of contact as far as up and down this way. You can hear a difference. Now, I'm hoping that's translating on camera, but you also, when you have the correct full contact with that edge, this full contact, I mean full contact with that bevel from top right there down to the actual cutting edge itself, the noise is really hard to describe. It's one of those things you're going to have to practice and get used to. But you can also feel the lightest amount of resistance. If you feel a huge amount of resistance, your angle is too steep. If you don't feel any resistance, your angle is too shallow. And just continue on until you feel like the edge is ready to move up to a finer grit ceramic rod. Another method you can do is you can plant, if you're not really comfortable with a freehand system, you can plant the rod into whatever stable base you're working off of and work down from there. Now once you've taken your recurve blade as far as the fine ceramic rod you feel like it will take, you move over to your strop. Now this is where a strop can really make a difference with a curved blade. Again, you're going to have that problem like I outlined just a minute ago with the stones, that if you strop like this straight flat against the entire surface of your strop, you're not going to be coming in contact with the middle of that recurve. Let me change the camera angle and I'll show you how I alleviate that problem. What I do is I just simply move my strop to the edge of my work surface, and that way I can angle my blade up on the corner of my strop and get the inside of that recurve easily. Now, as you can see, it is kind of hard on that corner. What I do to fix that is I just flip it around and go the opposite direction. I've used the corners of this strop for over a year on recurve blades, and it's still holding up just fine. Now that we've done the recurve, let's highlight blades that have this long belly. And just to go ahead and answer a specific question by a good viewer, Modern Bushcraft, Bud, thanks for all your support and constant comments, man. It means a lot. I do appreciate the conversation we have continually going on. I do value your input, Bud. To answer your question specifically, if you have a stone set that's not four-sided, that has another stone sticking out here, on this one specifically, the handle does get in the way, yes. However, on my stone that I use in the field, there's plenty of space to use a stone on this knife. Now, if you're wanting to follow the reverse bevel like that, you may run into a little bit of an issue depending on what stone you use, but this one right here specifically, you still have about a 1/16 of an inch space in between the stone and the handle. However, when I use a stone like this, I keep the length of the edge, even when it's curved, I angle the curve to be perpendicular to the length of my stone. And as you can see, Bud, that handle causes no issues right there as far as spacing goes. Now again, you can use stones. I'm not set up to use it. I don't like to scratch the bevel of my knife. It will work. But another thing to keep in mind, a lot of Scandi style blades these days does come, see, there we go, does come with a minute secondary on there. This is caused by the polishing process that they do on the main bevel here. So again, typically I default back to my rods. Again, it's freehand. A lot of guys don't like freehand. You can use the planting technique and cut down like you're making a feather stick. I like to just be able to find that minute secondary and maintain that and leave the polished bevel alone. Again, that's a matter of aesthetics. There is a slight amount of function involved with that, because if you do use the main bevel here to hone or sharpen your knife, you will eventually do away with that secondary. And me personally, I have used 3 LT Wright Genesis, or I've owned 3 LT Wright Genesis. The first one I owned, I did away with that secondary. The other 2 I did not. And honestly, I prefer it with that minute secondary. It acts like, not quite like a Scandi Vex, but it's a slight similarity to what one would get with a Scandi Vex. From there, I go back to how I outlined on the recurve, and I do touch it up with a leather strop. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and this is just a personal preference thing, if you do choose to use a strop on this secondary, it will eventually convex that secondary more. I don't mind it. I actually think it has a better overall performance as a blade goes. But again, you know, it's like with pretty much anything else. In the knife world, a lot of it is personal preference, what you're cutting, what you're going to be doing with it, and how you prefer your knives to act. Now, just to highlight a little bit of the work we did today, it's just a piece of copy paper I grabbed. It's what I had handy. If I can get this at an angle you guys can see here. Well guys, just to kind of wrap this up, whether it's a full bellied knife like this Jesmic here, or one with a pretty pronounced recurve like this Ferro Woodcrafter, honestly folks, this is all I need to keep those blades hair popping sharp at any given time. Again, in the field, I use this medium grit or what have you, medium ceramic rod from Lansky, as well as if it needs a little bit more work, I'll use this fine stone from Dan's Whetstones. Again folks, all of these tools, the links to them will be in the description of this video if you're interested in getting them. Well, folks, and that is how I maintain my curved blades, whether it be recurve or blades with a full belly like a Jesmic or Nesmic style blade. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for being here today. I hope you found this helpful. It helped you make an informed decision about what style knife may be useful for you and what tools you may need or don't have or do have to maintain these style blades. Now, I will say, guys, this is just my way of doing it. There may be better ways out there that I'm not aware of. There's plenty of tools out there that are great that are also designed for this purpose. I just don't happen to own them. This is just how I do it. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that you don't have to have some fancy tool, with a buffer or some belt driven system to maintain these style blades. That you can do it very economically with what you have or what you can easily get. But guys, again, thank you for being here today. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. I've had fun showing this to you. Anyway, guys, if you found this helpful, helped you make an informed decision about what tools are for you or what style knife is for you, I would appreciate if you'd hit that like button. It does actually help me out quite a bit. Guys, if you want to continue seeing videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. Please also share it with your friends. Help kind of spread the word about my channel here. I would be very grateful for that. And also, guys, as always, please hit up the comment section. Give me some feedback. Let's start a discussion on what tools are good for what options you use that I may not be aware of, because I'm here to learn from you guys. So anyway, thank you for being here today, and I will see you next time, guys. I just wanted to show you guys that you don't have to have a machine or a buffer or a belt fed system of some kind. A belt fed system. Yeah, this is a machine gun.